I give up. I give up.
As
Patricia Burns heaved her ham out of the freezer, she was looking forward to a quiet Christmas when the unthinkable happened. Welcome back to True Stories. Join our family in exploring some of the most twisted true crime cases. As always, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Now, let's get into it. Patricia Burns, a beloved hospice nurse. She was a fireball of energy, but was plagued with one big problem. When it came to men, she couldn't seem to find a good one. And then there was Patricia's rocky marriage to Clifford Burns. At first, Clifford seemed like a great catch. He owned his own business. He was an avid fisherman and a diehard Mets fan. But in between trips to Times Square and rides on his custom motorcycle, this blended family filled with smiles was hiding a darkness behind closed doors. Right after they got married, he just started, pushing her and slapping her, said Megan Jenkins. Megan was only 5 when Cliff became her new dad. The couple eventually had 2 girls together, Harley and Autumn. Cliff was deeply scarred from a childhood that could only be described as hell. Sadly, Clifford Burns would go from watching domestic violence as a kid to committing it as an adult. Then out of nowhere, this family already on the edge was rocked by tragedy. One of Patricia's daughters, Cliff's stepdaughter, Crystalline, went to sleep one night and never woke up. To this day, Crystalline's death still remains a mystery. But one thing that is clear, in her moment of blinding sadness, Patricia finally saw what she had to do. She needed to get out. Patricia told Cliff she wanted a divorce, and she moved into an apartment above a hardware store. In a decision she now calls weird, Harley decided not to go with her mom, but to stay with her dad. At first, Harley says she felt safe, because no matter how bad things got, Cliff would never raise a hand to his daughters. But Harley soon learned that without Patricia around to feel the brunt of his anger, she became his target. After several months, Harley claims the verbal abuse became too much. So she decided to move back in with her mom and younger sister Autumn. Unfortunately, Harley's attempt at a normal life back at her mom's place was temporarily derailed. That's because while she was living with her dad, Patricia had started up another ill-fated relationship, dating another man with a bad temper. Patricia's new boyfriend, Ted Backus, was arrested after assaulting Patricia, firing a gun into the ceiling, and then having a standoff with police. Backus eventually pleaded guilty to one misdemeanor count of discharging a firearm and received probation, and was slapped with a court order to not see Patricia Burns for 3 years. Months passed. The summer turned to the winter, and as the snow fell, the Burns women were preparing for a peaceful Christmas, something they hadn't had in years. Then a text message arrived. "I have a special gift for all of you. I hope that you're all there to see it." The Burns women had started to put the abusive past behind them. Harley and her sister Autumn did not talk to their father, Clifford Burns. It had been nearly 8 months since Cliff Burns had communicated with his girls. But as the holidays approached, 14-year-old Autumn extended an olive branch via text message, writing, "I just wanted to tell you I love you and Merry Christmas." His response was downright creepy. Harley's stepsister Megan, who immediately showed it their mother. "My mom was actually taking out the ham to defrost it for Christmas, and I was like, is he going to come up here and kill us?" And she goes, "No, Megan, he's mean, he's evil, but he's not that evil," said Megan Jenkins. 2 days pass. It's now the evening of December 24th, Christmas Eve 2013. Harley leaves to do some last-minute shopping with friends. Patricia was in the kitchen preparing Christmas dinner when the devil arrives at her doorstep. He knocked on the door and swung it open, and she was backing into the wall. All of a sudden I see somebody in full camo, even a mask, pushing Mom up against a wall. Megan tried to help. She managed to pull down the attacker's mask. It's her stepfather, Clifford Burns. But Cliff, blind with rage and armed with a giant hunting knife, continued his violent assault. Inside the house, the vicious attack was finally over. Megan, still stuck in the snowbank, was frozen with fear when Cliff made his way outside to find her. Fortunately, Megan's screams for help were heard by people at a nearby restaurant who came out to see what was going on, spooking Cliff. Dripping blood everywhere, Megan managed to free herself and stagger back up the stairs into the apartment. 911.
Where's your emergency? My mom's bleeding out on the floor. My dad just came in and they stabbed her and she's dying and she's bleeding out. My mom's dying. There's pools of blood on the floor. My sister's gonna die. You need to get people here.
It wasn't good. Miles away, their sister Harley was eating McDonald's with friends, laughing and having a good time, when she started noticing some strange posts on her sister's Facebook page. They were like, "Autumn, where are you? What's going on?" Why are there cops at your house? She called the house. Megan picked up the phone, Megan screaming. Harley races to Glens Falls Hospital, still not knowing just how bad things really are. Doctors were feverishly working on stepsister Megan's badly slashed arm. The wound was so deep it reached the bone, narrowly missing an artery. But for their mother Patricia, there wasn't anything they could do. It was too late. Her multiple chest wounds were too severe. Just after the incident, Burns got into his car and went on a high-speed chase with authorities. He led them right to a parking lot at the Warren County Sheriff's Office in Lake George, New York. Warren County Undersheriff Sean Lamery had just been called into duty. On Christmas Eve 2013, Patricia Burns' estranged husband Clifford Burns pulled into the sheriff's department parking lot after a short high-speed chase, took off his camo jacket and calmly waited. Warren County Undersheriff Sean Lamery was the first person to spot him. When Nate brought him into the room, he was cooperative. What transpires in the next 5 hours inside this interrogation room is a Jekyll and Hyde tale. I just wanted to see my babies at Christmas, Burns says. And then aggressive. Instead, Burns starts by pointing the finger at the system.
I give up. I give up. Right up your out of your head. I just wanted to see my babies at Christmas.
Do you understand what a man goes through, officer? I spent $200.
Burns certainly knew he was going to jail when he left his home that night, leaving behind a note about who should get his assets. But he claims he didn't want to kill anyone. As for what happened when he arrived at the apartment, he claims he blacked out. In fact, several hours into the interview he first hears his estranged wife is dead. The majority of Burns' fury is not pointed at Patricia, but rather her ex, Ted Backus. 10 months before the murder, Backus, the brother of 2 local sheriff's deputies, was arrested after authorities say he assaulted Patricia, and then fired a gun into the ceiling. He eventually pleaded guilty to 1 misdemeanor gun charge, getting probation, and was ordered to stay away from Patricia Burns. Clifford Burns was convinced Ted Backus got special treatment. During his interrogation, Burns finds out the detective he's talking to worked that other case as well. Burns makes a final disgusting insult as he's hauled off to jail. When you go get married, what do they say? Says Burns. What are the last words? This is a very intelligent man here. Till death do us part, baby doll. Get me out of here. And with that, Clifford Burns is charged with second-degree murder. Riddled with guilt, Clifford Burns accepts a plea deal, although he would later try to go back on that agreement, saying his daughters coerced him into signing it. He was not apologetic for anything that he had done that night, and he was not apologetic when he got sentenced. Clifford Burns was sentenced to 23 years to life in prison. As part of his sentence, Clifford Burns is barred from ever contacting his 2 daughters with Patricia. However, the girls could apply to have the orders modified when they are both 18, a decision they tell us they are currently not ready to make. We've come to the end. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Till next time.